Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon in this nice, bright, sunny day in Albuquerque. Thank you for being here. My name is Pat Montoya. I'm the director for the Department of Municipal Development. The solar projects are part of our department, and we're quite pleased to be able to participate in this venture with the City of Albuquerque, the solar community, and with the strong support that we have from the mayor and the mayor's office. A couple of employees that I'd like to thank very quickly. Ken Mitchell, who heads up facilities, is actually one of the individuals that spearheaded this effort. Tony Goudelet. Tony Goudelet is out of the office today, but we want to thank him. And Saif Ishmael, who is also, he's an energy specialist with the department. They have dedicated to the city and the community great effort in making this happen, and we're quite pleased to have them with us and to be part of our department. Want to thank a few of the vendors very quickly, and then we'll turn it over to the mayor. A big thank you to AKL Global, and I'm not sure if they're back here or not. If you are, just raise your hand. PPC Solar, Rio Grande Renewable, and Sol Luna Solar. Sol Luna Solar, Mark Johnson, and Sol Luna Solar is family owned and operated, so we appreciate that very much. In addition, Dan Weinman, Gary Gunthorpe, and Brian Schmidley. We want to thank you guys for your involvement in this project as well. These companies are going to leave a real footprint for Albuquerque and the solar community. The mayor will talk about the projects that we're undertaking, the first phase and then the second phase. Again, we're quite pleased that we're able to partner with these companies in bringing solar power, solar energy to city-owned facilities. With that, let me introduce the mayor, who we know is especially passionate about the future of Albuquerque and renewable energy. We've had several discussions with him about this project and other projects, sustainability, supporting it 150%. So, Mayor, we're quite pleased that you've taken the initiative to move forward with this. With that, Mayor Tim Keller.
Well, good morning or good mid-afternoon, good happy sunny day in Albuquerque. That's right, a couple of things, and also our solar proud folks, if you want to come stand behind us, because you got all those great signs and everything, you might as well. So if anyone wants to move around, you can, I know we're out in the sun, so feel free not to, but it's just a cool hashtag, so we should really get the hashtag ABQ Solar Proud out there for our friends in social media. There we go, nice, all right. Okay, so a couple of things that I want to share with you. Firstly, this is, of course, a project that got started with the good work of Councilor Pat Davis and City Council, who initiated this 25% by 2025 program. Now, what we've been able to do in our administration is move as fast as we can towards that goal, because the reality is today we actually are only at 3% renewable for city buildings. So we've got a long ways to go, but we are going to try and catch up fast. And that's why it's been my priority to really accelerate this. Also, this is about local job creation. We know that one of the challenges in the industry is that there's not enough local employment coming from, whether it's private sector or public sector, to local companies. So these programs, literally what we're doing behind you on this great community center is creating hundreds of jobs. The program is going to create thousands of jobs in our city for all of these hardworking local folks behind us and around us. And we estimate this, I think we have the exact numbers, but it's tens of millions of dollars in economic impact over the course of the project. Now, I also believe that we can look at this a little bit different way. We talk about things like carbon neutral and renewable energy, but I want to look at this from a different side of the equation. I want to get our city's electricity bill down to zero. That's right. So the term net zero has been sort of used by all sorts of groups, and so I'm not sure exactly what we're calling this, but we're still going with a net zero electricity bill. And so that's a different flavor of carbon and renewables. They're all helpful. They're all about a sustainable economy and a sustainable environment. That's what we're all about putting together. But I think there's a tangible way too where our city literally saves money. So we are going to try and save taxpayer money by reducing the amount of money we pay over in our electric bill. And by the way, Albuquerque is the largest single electric bill payer in the entire state of New Mexico. So, well, the state government might be bigger, I should say, in the city of Albuquerque. So we are trying to reduce that, which means more money for everything else, whether it's after school programs, law enforcement, etc. So we're here today to kick off the first of our 12 building project for phase 1 right here at Alamosa Community Center. And this is a great place to do it at for all sorts of reasons, but we look at a number of factors. Roof structure is actually something we can't put solar panels on every roof. And then there's also the various electric tie-ins behind it and so forth. So our team at the city is really instrumental in finding out where we can do this. And I want to let folks know it's a little bit of a misnomer. You can't do it on every roof. For example, even the convention center has some real limitations with the structural soundness up there if we were to put solar panels on it. But we will be announcing down the road solar panels on Civic Plaza to really demonstrate and lead for our city that we're gonna do that for all our community. Okay, so I think with that, I want to remind folks, of course, we have the 9th highest capacity for solar in the entire country. And so we should be, at a minimum, the 9th best when it comes to solar. So we've got a long ways to go, but we know this is the great natural asset that we have. And so we want to put it to use for all folks in Albuquerque. So with that, I also want to thank our senator, of course. Martin Heinrich has been very helpful with all the different programs that help finance this. And so we appreciate our federal delegation's help with this. And to dive into a little bit of the details of the Energy Bonds program and this project, I'm going to bring up our City Councilor Pat Davis. But before I do that, I do want to mention just one thing in terms of protocol. I know some folks do want to ask questions. And so we will be here for questions on this project. If you want to talk to me or anyone else about other stuff, we're going to kind of do a pull aside. Okay? So with that, our City Councilor, champion of this project, Councilor Pat Davis.
Mayor, thanks so much, Mayor. Director Montoya, wherever you wandered off to in the shade, thanks so much. I can't say enough. Thanks, Pat. You're not in the shade, but you should be. As the mayor said, it is about, we come up with these crazy ideas, but it's our staff that puts this together, and I want to add another member of our city staff who really led this initiative for the city. Sean Ferran from our office has been our policy lead on this from the very beginning. And working with our nonprofit and community partners really helped us pull together the right team from the outside of the city and helped us navigate with city engineers and our green energy teams and DMD to figure out how can a city like the city of Albuquerque, with so many solar resources, go from the bottom of the list, as the mayor said, with just 3% of our energy from renewables, to being a leader in the state of New Mexico. We did it through partnerships, and that's the value of what we see with the new administration, the city council, our federal delegation, because when Councilor Benton and I took the initiative a few years ago to begin down this path, we did it with help from Environment New Mexico. And Sanders is going to talk a little bit about how they helped us develop that policy and look to other cities that had led in similar ways. But we didn't just want to copy what any other city had done. We really wanted to be sure that if Albuquerque was going to be the next big municipal solar leader, that we did it in a way that didn't just put solar panels on city buildings, but created the solar workforce that allows New Mexicans to stay in New Mexico and not to find green jobs they don't have to move to California or Colorado to find. And so it took us a while, and working with Senator Heinrich to get clean renewable energy bonds, which is a federal program that was left over for the 15 years ago from the American Recovery Act, we were able to identify money that the city of Albuquerque could provide on our bonds so that folks who were conscious about their investing and wanted to buy bonds in a conscious and responsible way could help the city of Albuquerque get to that stage. As it turns out, we did all that before we knew that the federal government was going to shift their policies on energy. But today, The city of Albuquerque was the very first municipal the city in the country to announce a solar project under this new administration that's rolling us back in a different direction on climate. And that says a lot about our future. It says a lot about the partnerships from Washington to City Hall. But we couldn't do it without new partnerships from the mayor's office, who really did sit down with me in the very first week and said, we have a lot to work on, but how do we fast track solar? And to be sure that we could break it out. So what you see is a $25 million investment in solar on city buildings, but we did it in such a way that we partnered with our friends at C&M to be sure that our local solar companies could have a pathway for local students to go to C&M, to get installer certificates and certifications at a local community college, and start working with local solar providers who are doing work in the city of Albuquerque. In that way, we are keeping those dollars here in New Mexico, growing local business, growing local green energy jobs, and growing our local workforce in a way that puts New Mexico out front. And so it's no surprise, it's no surprise that in the last month or so you see new reports that say New Mexico is poised to triple our solar workforce in the next decade because of investments like this. Today, we start by putting up the first solar panels that make this possible, but the first phase alone will offset the equivalent of over 31 million pounds of coal that the city's electricity would have required over the next decade. That's a huge investment in our environment and in these guys, because we, as the mayor said, we have new money we can invest in our children without having to raise taxes. It's a huge project. I'm grateful to help start it, and I'm grateful to have new partnerships to help us finish it. But I also want to bring up a woman who is a fabulous policy leader in our state when it comes to renewables, someone who's been a friend of mine for a really long time, and who helped us get this project started from the very beginning. Sanders Moore from Environment New Mexico.
Thank you, Councilor, and thank you, Mayor Keller, for including me in today's exciting event. Environment New Mexico and our partners like 350 New Mexico and Interfaith Power and Light were proud to work with Councilor Davis and the Albuquerque City Council to unanimously adopt a goal to get 25% of the city government's electricity from solar energy by 2025. And we're here today to celebrate that first phase of those solar panels going into our buildings here in Albuquerque. And we know that local governments can and are leading the way on solar energy and renewable energy, not just in New Mexico, but across the country. Solar energy in our cities means clean air for neighborhoods and more resilient electricity systems in the face of extreme weather. And with historic levels of solar energy production, the U.S. now has enough solar to power the equivalent of more than 10 million American homes. As the largest city and the second sunniest state in the country, Albuquerque is well positioned to lead this charge. We have a new report from Environment New Mexico Research and Policy Center called Shining Cities 2018, and it shows that Albuquerque ranks 11th in all of the cities in the country in terms of total solar energy installed. It's pretty good. And it's notable that Albuquerque is going solar by putting solar panels on or near libraries, fire stations, and community centers in this first phase of the solar energy program. And in doing so, Albuquerque can be a leader, and is a leader, on the necessary transition to power in New Mexico with clean, renewable energy, which also benefits our public health and our environment. In phase one alone, these solar projects are the equivalent of taking more than 6,500 average-sized cars off the road. In addition, these projects will save more than 30 million gallons of water in 25 years over not producing steam energy. And as I think we can all acknowledge, we are in a drought-ridden state, an extreme drought at the moment, so that is going to be really beneficial for us moving forward. We still have a way to go. Figures from the U.S. Department of Energy show that Albuquerque is only taking advantage of a small portion of our overall solar potential, but clearly the actions that we've discussed today and others show that we have made great progress. We know that when our local leaders like Mayor Keller and Councilor Davis use smart policies to advance solar power, good things can happen. Congratulations again to Mayor Keller, Councilor Davis, and Albuquerque for all of the work that you've done to bring a solar-powered future to our present. Thank you.
Okay, I think we have some time for a few questions, and appreciate too my 9th number was last year. We are 11th now. As Councilor reminded me, others are actually growing a little bit faster, so it's a good clarion call for what we're doing. Also, there are poster boards around the side of all the different locations we're looking at for these projects. Actually, that we've slated, so we are going to do them, and we'll see you at the next one. All right, any other questions? Yes.
I'm Colin Krabby with the Albuquerque Business First. Do you have any estimate on how many jobs this initiative is going to create?
Yeah, so when this entire project is done, we think 130 new workers will be working on these solar projects with local companies, and hopefully we'll continue to expand this beyond this first 25% rule and beyond this first investment, and that keeps those folks working. But that's a lot of families looking for green jobs don't have to leave New Mexico to find for the next number of years to get all these projects done.
That 130 number is for this first phase, or is that overall?
That's right. That's for this first phase, $25 million, and we'll continue to roll out more of these. That's for all of the $25 million projects. This is the first phase of that. We have 2 more to go, but we'll be announcing those over the next few months. So over the next few years, 130 workers equivalent will be able to do this work.
Others? All right, well, the experts are all here if you need anything else. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.